Hi gang, welcome back to the Ornery Latina ever. Tonight's topic is going to be, Dee learned all about our judicial system. I really don't have any experience with the courts except for I went to court a few times. I had a misdemeanor in LA for trespassing in Disney World or Disneyland when I was a youth. There goes the cuckoo. Anyway, I hate it because that thing goes off whenever I start my videos. I let go. Ding, 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 ding. Anyway, and then the second time I went to jail, or not jail, but court, was over my dog biting some old man in the ass, and it was Judge Huckleberry in Oregon. He was an old, crusty, mean judge. I heard him just rip people apart. So I was really young, and the last time I tried to explain myself out of court is I was laughing at a girl that was urinating in public before it was my turn to speak. So the judge was not very nice to me, and I was mumbling and I couldn't get my story straight. So I really didn't want to fail my dog Buddy, because I was realizing after we got in court that Buddy was in big trouble, and I thought maybe they would put my little golden retriever down. So I was fighting for Buddy's life. Anyway, long story short, I won my case because I watched Perry Mason. I did, and I asked these questions to the Mr. Webster, and well, first I asked Mr. Huckleberry because I knew we were in deep shit. Mr. Webster has a lawyer. And we don't have a lawyer for Buddy, and I would like to represent Buddy, even though I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. But anyway, he said, yeah, you can do that. And I'm like, okay, so can I interview Mr. Webster? And he's like, yeah. And I said, so Mr. Webster, when did this event happen? He's like, I don't know. And I'm like, okay. And then I'm like, did you realize that there was 2 golden retrievers on the road, on our neighborhood, on our block? And he said, no. And then I didn't say anything. And then the Judge Huckleberry said, and are you done? And I said, yes, Mr. Huckleberry. The guy didn't even know when this happened. If something bit me in the ass, I would know exactly when it happened and where. And the fact is that he didn't know there was 2 golden retrievers on the road. So how can we be sure he got the right one? He has, the little gavels that they handed out today, Will, to the judges, and they said, I hope you never have to use them. Well, that judge used the gavel, and he went smack with it, and he's just the case dismissed, and I got Buddy free, and then I got cocky, and I said to the judge, well, that guy has a lot of nerve. He lets his little Fifi dog run free. And he says, young lady, I too have a Fifi dog. And he says, you better tie that pooch up because I better not ever see you back in my courtroom again. He goes, you got lucky this time. So he didn't see me back in the courtroom again at all. No, I was really good about avoiding that situation, except for today. I went there to support my friend, my good friend. His last name is Ellis, like in Ellis Island. And, he's going to be a damn good judge. Dave is going to be great. So anyway, like Elizabeth Warren, I'm going to have me a beer. And I really don't know that, I was going to take the pot holder and try to twist it off. But you know what? Will told me that it's one of these things. So I needed one of these things that do it. And, this Hofbrau, or whatever the fuck the name is, I really don't know. Beer's beer, but he likes the German stuff because he thinks that stuff is really good. And I do like this German beer. It has a crown on it, which is better than what anything Miss Warren could ever drink because it has a fucking crown on it. My beer has crowns. And that is really damn good beer. And you know why I'm having the beer? I normally don't. I'm not a beer drinker. I'm a wine drinker. But I like my wine cold. And it takes a while for that wine to chill up. So while the wine is chilling, I started off with a beer. Anyway, we're going to talk about current events. All right? Because, I think it's important to address the current events. And today's event is I was learning about the judge. And that's pretty current. I didn't realize how many judges Florida had. And that Florida is a judgy place, but it's a very big populated place with a lot of crime, so we need a lot of judges, and the job of a judge is very important. And we learned a little term, and like I've already forgotten it, Will. Like I learned a term, and we brought this little thing home so I could like, okay, this word on here is an invested, whatever, how do you say it again? Investor, and something like that. What the fuck is that? Okay, well, you know, to a layperson like myself, I'm like, oh, okay. So they're investing in, that's what that word means, right? So anyway, in our, I don't know, but there was just a whole lot of stuff going on here. You know, it was a busy thing, you know, and it was great. I voted for the first guy. The other two people I didn't vote for. Rebecca, I just couldn't vote for you because, you know, you talk to me intoxicated. If you're going to be a judge, you cannot walk around with a glass of wine in your hand. If you're going to be the Ornery Latina, you can do that all you want, you know. But when you're in a public setting, and even though it's a GOP event and everything, and everybody else might be getting jiggy with it and getting loose, I saw the glass of wine and I'm like, no. And then, you know, it's great. She's identifying with the peeps. That's okay. But I just didn't have the confidence in her. Like, if I was a judge, I would really need all my brain cells that I could muster, especially like when I'm talking to people in public. Because you know what? When I get to drinking a little bit too much, I just don't do the best with my interview. The first thing that goes with me when I drink is my speech ability. I start to slur my words real fast. You know how some people lose their balance and they get kind of like wobbly? See, I have great balance. I could probably pass all those balance tests if I got pulled over in my car. Not that I would, and not that I'm driving anywhere, but like I'm saying, you know, alcohol affects people differently. So if I was ever to go for an interview and I had to be talking to a group of people, I definitely wouldn't drink beforehand, because you know what? You just don't know what's going to come out of my mouth. But I mean, to each his own, Rebecca. That's just why I didn't vote for you, Doreen, or whatever. You know, I just like the other person that I talked to a little bit better, you know, and nothing personal. Didn't really know you, but you seemed like you had it all together and you knew you were going to get it, you know, kind of an attitude, which is great. It's great to be positive. But the one thing I really liked about the first judge is he had a whole lot of humility. Just that came through. One simple little question is, really, what really inspired you to do this? I mean, like, how, you know, like, what made you you, or who you are? And he didn't say, well, I did this, and talked about himself. He used that time to talk about, you know, his other, his partner, you know, and how she inspires him to be the best that he could be. And that's awesome, because, you know, I mean, if somebody were like to give me credit for something, if they were going for something, like if say Will is running for office and he said, I'm the man I am is because of D, I would probably keel over. I really would. I'd just be, oh, you know, because that would be really cool. So when I see that in somebody else, I think that's really awesome. Because, you know, I ran for office and I didn't have the support of my partner. He kept telling me every day what an idiot I was and that I was going to lose and why would I run for this. And really, you know, you're feeling insecure anyway, and the last thing you need to do is go home and just be beat up by your spouse. So I think it's important who you surround yourself with as people. And that's why I like President Trump, because he surrounds himself with the best. And, you know, he uses a lot of positivity when he speaks, but if you're not on his good side, you know, he'll rip you. And, you know, speaking about that, he reminds me of somebody I love and I know and I adore, my grandma. My grandma's going to be 96 in June. I think it's on Trump's birthday. I think she's like June 12th or something silly like that. Anyway, she's a Gemini, and it's really funny. Like, you know, Trump always says, you know, leave your inheritance to your kids if you like your kids, and if you don't, if, you know, whatever, don't leave your inheritance to them. And, you know, my grandma, you know, calls my dad every week or every month, but they got into it and stuff like that. And she's like, I'm going to give all your money, your inheritance to St. Jude's Children's Cancer Hospital or whatever. And I had to laugh about that because, you know, like my kids get on my shit list and I say the same thing. You know, hopefully my kids get in a place where they don't need my money. That's what we all aspire to as parents, because we want to teach our kids to go out there and be go-getters and stuff like that and get things themselves. You know, sometimes, you know, with a failed economy, when the government like just plays a bunch of games with things, like in Will's book, Empty Rooms, which you guys should buy, it's on Amazon, Empty Rooms by Will Harris and William Harris. Eagle's Way, I mean, he changed it to Eagle's Way. He's sitting there doing the Eagles. Sorry, it's not an empty head here, but anyway, get Eagle's Way. It really explains everything that goes down, you know, because I'll tell you, you can work really hard in life and things beyond your control can happen, and that's why you really have to thank your lucky stars when things go good. And speaking about going good, you know, it's not always going to be about people always winning. And one of the things that I love about Trump is he's very real with what he says, you know, like he says, you know, this is what I believe and this is what we should do. And he doesn't worry about being liked. He worries about doing the best thing for the people. And he got a lot of pressure about the Special Olympics, you know, not funding that. And you know what? I don't think it's government's job to fund the Special Olympics. That's an extra. Or fund any Olympics, really. This is sports, okay? You know, when you want to give literacy to kids that are disadvantaged, that are raised in the ghetto, or do you want to fund some sort of athletic thing for Special Olympics? I mean, I'd rather see those Special Olympic kids, you know, get their IEPs, you know, supported in the public school system. I would rather see the funding for IDEA get funneled into the special need kids so the special need kids can learn how to tie their shoes, not, you know, have a wheelchair marathon, okay? So Betsy DeVos, or whatever the fuck your name is, or whatever, I'd like my son's IEP being implemented. I'd like his speech services being implemented. I'd like him to learn how to ask for help when he needs it, okay? Because, you know, autistic kids don't always do that. But the thing about it is they think it's more important to fund some sort of big event so kids can run around in wheelchairs and, you know, throw things and maybe be feeling special, when really, you know what, I would rather see my child not be made to feel special, but actually learn how to, like, master some skills that would get them from point A to point B. Like, you know, just little independent living skills. Learning how to fold their clothes. Wrap it up, but I'm going to wrap it up, Bill. I'm on a rant. I think we're misusing the special need money. We need to fund the IDEA. You know, there's so many school districts not implementing their IEPs. That's where the money should go. It shouldn't be going for any extra frivolous activities. So anyway, people put pressure on him. They made him feel like a fucking douchebag, and that's why he caved. You know, you got to stop caving, okay? You know, and I'm glad that he stood up and had a pair of balls about that border fence. Because you know what? That's important. When we have people pouring into the country and doing harm to the American people, that needs to be addressed. And with that said, don't get your trigger finger on there. With that said, tonight was really important because we got to see a process going on. We got to see people voting for the judges and the judges getting sworn in, and those judges make decisions about people that commit crimes. You know, who should do what, you know, how long, and what happens with those people. And just like a president makes decisions, you know, somebody like Elizabeth fucking Warren, who's sitting there going, yeah, I'm gonna have myself a beer, you know, just so she could feel like she's a freaking normal person. Because you know what, if you're gonna identify with the public, you need to get real with everybody. You need to get real. But anyway, I'm never running for office. Don't even freaking ask me, because I say too many F words, and I don't think that's a good thing. And I try not to. You know, I really try not to. But when you get me going on the fucking wall and fucking IEP services and all those fucking things, I do drop the F-bombs, because those things make me passionate. And you know what? And if you're not getting passionate about things, and you're just sitting home and you're watching it on TV and figuring that you can't do anything about it, then you're part of the problem. With that said, you guys have a blessed evening. Forward this on, and if you don't like it, up yours.